wrestling fans, welcome back to another full hour of Worldwide Wrestling. I'm your host, Rich Landrum, and we've got some more of the superstars from the National Wrestling Alliance. Give you a brief rundown on some of the matches. Got a lot of tag team action coming up. First, Herb Gallant and Johnny Weaver go up against Ernie Ladd and John Studd, two giants of men. But I think Johnny Weaver's experience, Herb Gallant's youth and aggressiveness could be an important factor. The big Swede Hansen goes up against none other than the U.S. heavyweight champion Ricky Steamboat, and then more tag team action. Pedro Morales and Steve Regal take on Baron von Raschke and number one Paul Jones. Then Ric Flair, the Nature Boy, takes on Nick DiCarlo, and topping off the main event card, more tag team action when the unpredictable Brute Bernard and Frank Monty team up to take on the World Tag Team Champions Paul Orndorff and Jimmy Snuka. The wrestlers for the first match are already up in the ring, so let's go up to the ring for the introductions. First, from Canada, at 228 pounds, Herb Gallant. His partner from Indianapolis at 233 pounds, the ever-popular Johnny Weaver. Their opponents, first from Texas at 315 pounds, Ernie Ladd. And his partner from Los Angeles at 325 pounds, Big John Studd. We'll be back and get the action underway in just a moment. Starting off the action in the first tag team main event, Johnny Weaver in up against Big Ernie Ladd. Hopefully, Johnny Weaver's experience is going to take the toll over the giant Ernie Ladd. Good reversal there by Johnny Weaver as a switch arm. And a reversal again. Ladd makes it to the ropes, which will call for a break. Referee Sonny Fargo calls for the break as he steps through the ropes, and a clean break from Johnny Weaver. Nice arm drag by Weaver. Takes the big giant cat down. Ernie Ladd, of course, former NFL football star. Giant of a man. 7 feet tall. 315 pounds. Ladd from Houston, Texas. Picks Weaver up. Slams him over into the turnbuckle. Makes a tag to equally as large John Studd. John Studd, 6'9", 335 pounds. From Los Angeles, California. Backs Weaver over into the ropes. Get a clean break. Takes a swing and misses. Now Studd down on his back, and that's the way you're going to have to handle a big man like Studd or Ladd. Keep him down, off balance, work on one part of the body, and that's what Johnny Weaver's been doing. His partner on the outside, of course, Herb Gallant. Hip toss. Studd with an elbow drop, and Weaver moves out of the way in the nick of time. Another arm drag. Johnny Weaver from Indianapolis, Indiana, makes the tag now to Herb Gallant, who's from New Brunswick, Canada, 5'11", 228 pounds. Started wrestling when he was trained by one of the K brothers, backed into the ropes, whipped across the ring. Leapfrogs over John Studd. Arm drag, and now Studd again down on his back. Herb Gallant's astrological sign is Scorpio. Favorite hold is a shoulder stretch. Weaver in after the tag, goes back to work on the arm of John Studd. Another tag, switching in and out. Weaver and Gallant working well together as a tag team. Another tag as Studd makes it to his feet. They continue to work on the arm. Over in the corner there. Weaver back to the rope. Studd whips him across. Oh. Johnny was waiting on that. He said, oh no, he wasn't going to run into that shoulder tackle from Studd. Man the size of Studd with a tackle like that. Weaver goes back to work on the arm, makes the tag. Herb Gallant back in. Knee drop. Gallant whipped across, tossed over. Stomp right to the back. Now the giant cat, Ernie Ladd, in. Picks Gallant high in the air. Just literally drops him, and Gallant's now in trouble. Shoulder tackle. Now Gallant trying to shake the cobwebs out. Slow getting to his feet. Ladd literally helps him up. Whips him across. That time Gallant, head clear enough, just hangs on to the ropes to keep from running back into Ernie Ladd. Gallant fighting back. Tag to Johnny Weaver. Whips the big giant across. Backdrop, and that takes a lot of strength to backdrop Ernie Ladd. Knee lift. Ladd whipped into the turnbuckle. That size 16 boot right up to the shoulder inside of the head of Johnny Weaver as Weaver came charging in. Now over into the boot of John Studd. Now Weaver desperately needs to make a tag. Knee right to the midsection. He's being double teamed. Elbow drop, this time Weaver not moving out of the way in time. Count of two from referee Sonny Fargo. He scampers to his corner, makes the tag. Gallant's fresh, he's in. He comes in swinging up against John Studd. Studd holds on, and Gallant, off balance, falls on the back of his neck and the small of his back. Studd up off the ropes. Knee drop down across his back. Gallant's back already in trouble. Picks him up by the hair. High in the air. Body slams him. Gallant still showing some signs of life, but the punches just don't seem to have a sting. That punch, though, takes the wind out of Gallant. Forearm down across the stem. Some type of signaling between Ladd and Studd. They were holding up two fingers and saying number two. Perhaps some type of code they've worked out. Studd has Gallant up. What's he going to do with him? Atomic drop. Vicious atomic drop. Gallant was held in the air there for several seconds. Seemed like an eternity to him, I'm sure. Tag, Ernie Ladd in. Picks up Gallant by the throat. Referee Sonny Fargo counting an out-and-out chokehold as he throws him hard to the mat. All of his weight down across Herb Gallant's chest and throat. That's it, the count of three. Ernie Ladd pins Herb Gallant. The winners in tag team action, Ernie Ladd and John Studd. We're going to take a look at that again in instant replay and see exactly what happened. There you see Herb Gallant up in that chokehold. Referee Sonny Fargo counting on Ladd. He throws him hard to the mat. Backs up. All of his weight up in the air and down across the chest and throat of Herb Gallant. After that, it was a simple matter of a cover. And 1, 2, 3. The winners, Ernie Ladd and John Studd.
Let's take time out for these commercial messages about the worldwide wrestling events coming up in your area.
U.S. heavyweight champion Ricky Steamboat joining me now. And Rick, you picked up a real good nickname, Hawaiian Punch, lately, and you're going to need it up against Swede Hansen because he's going to punch it out with you if he gets a chance.
That's correct. I guess everybody knows the legendary Swede Hansen. The man is a legend in this area. He's been in and out and proven himself time and time again. He's have a long list of victories and a lot of impressive wins over very, very capable wrestlers that have either gone on to continue further their wrestling career, or after he's finished wrestling, they've gone into retirement.
Yes, very true.
That's true.
But, you know, talking about tough opponents and tough contenders, of course, your ex-partner, Paul Jones, self-proclaimed #1.
Yeah.
He's been hot on your trail, particularly after that belt that you have. And then, of course, we had the dream match on here where he goaded you into putting up that U.S. belt. But we caught him in the act that time and had to return the belt when he defeated you.
That's correct, Richard. You know, of all the times that him and I have been partners together on television and throughout the country wrestling with each other, he has never, ever once in his whole wrestling career had to refrain to go as low as to pull tights to try and win a match or try to win a championship belt. I never anticipated this. I never even thought of him doing this, and he did a beautiful counter move when I tried to roll him up.
Very nice reversal.
And I can't stand here and say that if he needed to pull the tights or this and that, but it kept me from kicking out. But I'm just glad with the magic of television nowadays, the instant replay.
That's right.
I'm able to once more stand up here, and hopefully another week will go by in which I'll be able to stand up here again to be the U.S. champion and tell the people all the thanks for their support. But as you know, Richard, each week goes by, each match comes along, it gets tougher and tougher and tougher.
There's no question about it.
Well, the competition, they've got new stars that come into this area. They've got good professional wrestlers all across the country that are gaining more and more experience and gaining more and more wrestling capabilities, and it's showing and it's proving. Because I'll tell you one thing, each one of my matches with a U.S. belt on the line just seems to get harder and harder and harder.
Oh, there's no question. You know, when you're at the top, you got to be expected that people are going to try to knock you off. Thank you, Ricky.
Okay, thank you very much, Richard.
We will be back following these commercial messages.
Ricky Steamboat, Swede Hansen in a single match. Ricky Steamboat, of course, the U.S. heavyweight champion. Swede Hansen, a very big man, rough, tough, very aggressive, will slug it out with you if he gets the chance, loves to slug it out. Former ex-boxer. Steamboat's going to have his work cut out for him. Swede Hansen, 6 foot 3.5 inches tall, 295 pounds, from Newark, New Jersey. Astrological sign Aries. Started wrestling. He's an amateur wrestler at YMCA in high school. Hobbies are fishing, boating. Ricky Steamboat from Honolulu, Hawaii, 6 feet tall, 232 pounds, U.S. heavyweight champion. There's a nice escape there from that headlock on Swede that Swede Hansen had on Ricky. Picked up the nickname Hawaiian Punch lately, and it certainly does suit Ricky Steamboat. Ricky's astrological sign is Pisces, and believe me, he has done a lot in his 26 years. He has become a very, very popular professional wrestler. And of course, he has achieved one of the highest rankings that you can have, and that being U.S. heavyweight champion. So for a 26-year-old young man, he's done quite well. Always get a lot of cards and letters about Ricky Steamboat, requesting information about him, and it's a pleasure to hear from everyone. He's trying to go to work on the Swede, trying to get out of the hole. Crisscross. Better watch out for the Swede. He'll be waiting on him. Swede right over the top ropes and down on the floor. Swede fell hard to the concrete floor. He's still down on his back. Referee Sonny Fargo going over to start the count. Swede trying to shake the cobwebs out. Steamboat anxious for him to get back in the ring so they can continue the match. As you see Swede, I think he was really jolted that time. Slowly getting back up on the apron of the ring, crawls back through the ropes. Telling Steamboat, stand back a little bit here. Wait a minute, let's get ready. Now they come to grips. It looks like the Swede was playing possum. Ooh, big right hand down across the chest of Ricky Steamboat. You can hear him ring across the ring. Now Swede loves it. Look at the expression on his face. Steamboat trying to fight back. Double fist to the back. Fist to the midsection from Steamboat. Chop. And of course, Ricky Steamboat, an expert at the martial arts. Now the Swede Hansen down on one knee. He's back up. Chopped across the back. That knocked the wind out of Swede. Another chop. Swede now in the corner. The rope's literally holding him up at this point. He's whipped across into the turnbuckle. And the ring moved about 6 inches when he hit. Chop. Legal blows. Reversals. Steamboat shoulder over the top rope, down on the floor. Now Steamboat down on the concrete floor. And it looks like his shoulder's hurt now. That left shoulder hit on the turnbuckle, and when he came down, he ended up hitting on the concrete floor with that left shoulder. Steamboat, as you can see from his facial expression, in quite a bit of pain as he's struggling to get back up on the ring, get back in. Shoulder to the midsection as Hansen started after him before he got back in. Headbutt. Hansen's down, and so is Steamboat. Referee Sonny Fargo counting. Both wrestlers down. Till one makes it to the feet, he will continue the count. Steamboat climbs up over top of the ropes. Oh, fist to the midsection. The Steamboat was right up on the top ropes. And perhaps Steamboat may have underestimated Swede Hansen a little bit, as Steamboat has received most of the brunt of this match. Knee right to the side. Vicious knee drop. And of course, Swede Hansen weighing 295 pounds, 6 foot 3.5 inches tall. That's 295 pounds coming down on you. Of course, Hansen would love to defeat Ricky Steamboat on nationwide television. Even though it's not a United States title match, it would mean a giant step up the ladder for the Swede. Legal blow, open hand, double thrust. The Swede's down on the mat, double thrust from Steamboat. That's his favorite move. That's perhaps where he got the name Hawaiian Punch. Both wrestlers trying to make it to the feet. Steamboat makes it first. A foot to the midsection brings him down again. This has been a rough and tumble match from the starting bell. More martial art, more karate chops. Hansen whipped across the ring. Steamboat waiting for him to come off, backdrop, and Hansen kicked him just in the nick of time. Steamboat draped across the ropes, feet up in the air. He dropped down across the head. Covers. And just in the nick of time at the count of 2, Steamboat manages to kick out. Fist right to the side of the head. That wasn't a chop. That time a chop. Another chop. Hansen whipped across the ring. Comes off. Nice tackle on Steamboat. High backdrop. Now Steamboat showing some light. Sunset flip. Count of 3. There's your winner, the U.S. heavyweight champion, Ricky Steamboat, but a very tough contender in Swede Hansen. Referee Sonny Fargo raises Ricky's hand in victory. And in just a moment, we'll take a look at that again, an instant replay. You see that tackle from Swede, a very vicious tackle, hard. Swede comes off the ropes, high backdrop. Hansen is down. Hansen gets to his feet. Ricky flips over, stacks him up. Referee Sonny Fargo counts 1, 2, 3, and there's your winner, the U.S. heavyweight champion, Ricky Steamboat.
We will be back following these commercial messages.
With me, the World Tag Team Champions, Jimmy Snuka, the Superfly, Paul Orndorff. Paul, last week we had the Anderson brothers. They're back in the area, back together, Gene and Ole Anderson. Minnesota Wrecking Crew, former World Tag Team Champions, and I'm sure they're going to be hot on your trail.
You know, that's very true. You know, they got credentials a mile long. You know, they held the belts, I believe, longer than anybody else that ever had them. They even held them longer than Flair and Valentine. I think they held them for over 2 years, and they never were defeated. But the Anderson brothers were defeated, so we do know they can be beaten. And, you know, they are one heck of a fine team. You got to give them credit where credit's due. They go out there and they wrestle, and, you know, you can't agree on the way they go out there and do their stuff, but they are, you know, they are fine wrestlers, and they'll tell you what, they're going to give us a heck of a run for these belts.
I'm sure they will. And Jimmy, you know, I'm sure that you all, I've heard them say in the past, well, they don't know, Jimmy Snuka and Paul Orndorff don't know anything about us. I don't think that's true. I can't see that. You two being world champions, you've scouted them. You've bound to see the tapes and the films of them.
Well, let me tell you something, brother. You know, just one thing that myself and Paul Orndorff realized, that these two men do have more experience than myself and Paul do. But there's another thing you got to realize, that when you get into that ring, brother, that's the most important thing that you can prove to yourself, and either prove to the other tag team who's the best and what his wrestling is all about.
Right.
And this is what the most important thing is, these belts, and that's what takes a lot of courage and a lot of fight in that ring, because without these things, brother, we wouldn't be inside there. But let me tell you another thing again, brother, you could never take these guys easy, because like I said, they've got more experience than myself and Paul. But myself and Paul, we're definitely going to go in there, brother, and we're going to put them and give them a hell of a battle.
Oh, there's no question about it. They're, you know, I guess they're probably, next to you guys, are the most perfect wrestling machine in a tag team combination that we have around. Back with more tag team action. Let's go up to the ring for the introductions. First, from Puerto Rico at 242 pounds, the very popular Pedro Morales. His partner from Indiana at 222 pounds, Steve Regal. Their opponents, first from Germany at 287 pounds, Baron von Ratschke. His partner from Texas at 240 pounds, the NWA TV champion, #1 Paul Jones. We'll be back with action in this tag team match right after you watch this important message. Steve Regal, Paul Jones start off the action in this tag team event. Baron von Ratchka on the outside, Paul Jones's partner. Pedro Morella is Steve Regal's partner over in his corner. Paul Jones, of course, the NWA TV champion. Shoulder tackle sends Regal down. And now both men kind of threatening each other. As referee Sonny Fargo moves in between, warns them both. Been getting a lot of mail recently about Paul Jones, particularly, and I'd like to say a very nice Worldwide Wrestling hello and salute to one of our stations out in the Worldwide Wrestling Network, Charlottesville, Virginia, WVIR. Hello to all the fans. We've been getting a lot of mail from you out of the Charlottesville, Albemarle, Mountain area, and love to hear from you. And any time that you'd like to write, give us your comments, tell us what you like, dislike, whatever. All you have to do is drop me a card or a letter, send it to Rich Landrum, Worldwide Wrestling, WRAL-TV, P.O. Box 12,000, Raleigh, North Carolina. And while you're jotting that down, I remind you, if you would like a written response to the letter or card that you send me, you must enclose a self-addressed stamped envelope. And I'm running a little behind in answering some of the mail. It's been quite good, and I'm very pleased at it, and I love to hear from all the fans. So if you do want a written response, include a self-addressed stamped envelope with your letter. Okay. Pedro Morella is in after the tag as he's working on the arm of Paul Jones. Paul trying to find an escape, whips him across the ring. Pedro comes off with a nice shoulder tackle. Jones has him up, body slam. Another body slam. Goes back to work on the arm of Paul Jones. Jones backs over, makes the tag to Baron von Ratchka. Ratchka, of course, from Germany. 6'4", 287 pounds. Astrological sign Leo. Steve Regal doing a lot of sit-outs, managing to escape just briefly from the Baron. And that's really quite a bit of amateur wrestling there, amateur moves that you see. Baron taken down with a single leg takedown. I was talking about the Baron. His astrological sign is Leo, of course, his favorite hole, and he claims to be the master of the claw. His favorite other sport is soccer. And his favorite hobby, he raises rats for scientific purposes. Very interesting. We'll have to find out about that. Steve Regal from Indianapolis, Indiana, 6 feet tall, 222 pounds. Originally, he was born in Michigan. He's a Virgo. His favorite hole is the abdominal stretch. Right now, the Baron is working on the arm, stretching the shoulder muscles a little bit of Steve Regal. Steve Regal also played football. He was an all-conference punter in football at Indiana State University, and he had a tryout with the Washington Redskins. Plus the fact a lot of the ladies think so, and I have to admit, he's a handsome young man. Baron von Ratchka is still working on the arm, makes the tag to his partner Paul Jones. Really unusual. It's hard to believe. Paul Jones and Baron von Ratchka as a tag team. I didn't think I'd ever see the day, and I'm sure many of the fans feel the same way. Still working on the arm. Reversal. Another reversal. Regal desperately needs to make a tag. Needs to get over to his corner. Pedro Morales has been outside now for quite some time. He's fresh. Tag, and Baron von Ratchka in. He's got him up. What's he going to do? Shoulder breaker. Regal really needs to make the tag. Baron stomping away on that shoulder. Picks him up. Regal comes around behind. Off the rope, stacks him up. Nope, missed on that. He does have him covered though, but not long enough for a count. Head driven right into the knee of Paul Jones. Snapmare, knee drop down across the chest and throat. Another drop, knee drop. Elbow drop down across the top of the head. Another tag and the Baron's in. Regal has definitely been trying to fight his way out, but he hasn't been able to make it to his corner. The Baron, he's got the claw on Regal. Can Regal make it to the ropes? Or can he just withstand the pressure that vice-like claw hold is having upon him? Morella's in, stomps. Regal has got the Baron in a headlock, or head scissors rather, while the Baron still has the claw. The Baron is out now. Still applying the claw. Regal trying to fight his way out. Referee Sonny Fargo right on top of the action. Morella's leaning over the ropes, as you can see in the upper right-hand corner. There's the claw. You can see that pressure. Count of three, his shoulders to the mat. And there's the winner, Baron von Raschke and Paul Jones. Morella is trying to break up the hole, as you see in instant replay. Morella started in, but a little too late. No, this is just prior to that. Regal does have a head scissors on the Baron, trying to break up that iron claw hole that he has. Jones comes in and assists the Baron. Raschke does manage to get out of the head scissors, still applying the claw. After that, Regal was so weak, his shoulders were to the mat. The count of 1, 2, 3, and the winners, Baron von Raschke and Paul Jones.
We will be back following these commercial messages.
Ric Flair giving some harassment to me. He's up against Nick DiCarlo, very slow in taking his robe off, Flair is. Flair asking who is the biggest star in wrestling today. And I really couldn't give Flair the satisfaction of admitting to him that he probably is one of the biggest stars in wrestling today. He knows it. He's probably one of the biggest egotists in professional wrestling, but he's got a tough opponent in Nick DiCarlo, and I hope that Flair has underestimated DiCarlo. DiCarlo may just upset him. Ric Flair from Minneapolis, Minnesota, 6'1", 270 pounds, former U.S. heavyweight champion. His nickname, Nature Boy, Ramblin' Rick, several other names. Nice shoulder tackle. Flair comes up holding his head after that. He really hit on the mat that time. Ric Flair's astrological sign is Pisces. He attended the University of Minnesota. Started wrestling when he was trained by Vern Gagne. His favorite hold recently has been the figure 4. and he's been very successful with it. He's offered quite a sum of money to anyone who could break it on television, and so far no one has been able to. His favorite foods are meat of all kinds, hobbies, motorcycling, horseback riding, and his favorite other sport is football. Nick DiCarlo from Italy, 6 feet tall, 235 pounds. Astrological sign Scorpio, or rather Capricorn, I'm sorry. And his favorite hole is the Italian crab. And in some respects like Flair, in that some of his favorite hobbies include motorcycling. He's been working on that headlock on Flair for some time now. Flair trying to find an escape. He does. Whips DiCarlo into the ropes. DiCarlo comes off with a nice shoulder tackle. Flair up. And another tackle. DiCarlo has been on top up until this point. And there was a knee to the midsection. Then a knee to the top of the head. Another knee to the midsection. Nice forearm as he comes off the ropes. Legal blow. Carlo down on the mat after that knee. High knee drop to the shoulder and arm muscles. Another one. Flair now going to work on the arm of Nick DiCarlo. Still working on the arm of DiCarlo. Ric Flair.
Who is the man, huh? Who is the man?
Carlo trying to make a counter maneuver there. Flair moves around. I can't really tell what he's done to his arm. Has it pressed back up, his shoulder pressed back up against underneath the his arm up underneath the shoulder there, applying the pressure.
Who is the man, huh?
Shoulder is only made to move in a couple of directions, but that doesn't happen to be one of them that Flair's doing.
Come on, boy. Tell the girls my name, huh? Tell the girls my name, boy.
Flair really insulting DiCarlo if you're unable to hear him. He's able to flip him out, though, but his shoulder is in a lot of pain. Flair goes right back to work on that arm. Referee Sonny Fargo warning Flair about the tactics he's using. Those sledgehammer right hands to the back, rabbit punches. Picks DiCarlo up, body slams him. He pulls that knee guard up. Look out. Moves out of the way just in the nick of time. Now that knee guard has been checked. It is completely legal. There's nothing in it other than Flair's knee. It's used strictly for his protection. We have had some question about that, and it has been checked. It is completely legal. DiCarlo fighting back, backs Flair over into the ropes, whips him across, high backdrop. DiCarlo whipped out across the ring and through the ropes. He's down on the floor, but Flair still holding that back from the backdrop that DiCarlo put on him. DiCarlo still very slow getting up. Flair coming outside the ring. Goes around, stomp to the back. That stops the count and restarts it again. Ric Flair still insulting DiCarlo. DiCarlo crawling up on the apron, side of the ring, trying to make it back in. Draped across the ropes backwards. Sledgehammer right hand down across the chest. Once again, referee Sonny Fargo warning Flair to stand back, give DiCarlo a chance to get in. DiCarlo very slow getting to his feet, trying to make his way back into the ring.
Come on, boy.
Really trying to shake the cobwebs out, I think. Rest a little bit. Flair grabs him just as he makes it up to the ropes. Let's see what he's going to do. Has him up. Suplex. Giant suplex from Ric Flair. Now he comes down. Knee down across the forehead of DiCarlo. Covers him. And a count of two, and DiCarlo just in time manages to kick out. Now Flair goes to work on the legs of DiCarlo. Maybe setting him up for that vicious figure four that he uses. That's what it looks like. He crosses over, steps down, lays back. He's got it locked in. Now can DiCarlo just take the pain, make it to the ropes, anything to keep from submitting. Flair, or referee Sonny Fargo says he gives it up. Now Flair goes to an out-and-out chokehold and starts slugging out with DiCarlo. I think DiCarlo really embarrassed Flair, and now Flair's going to take advantage. He pushes referee Sonny Fargo away and just out and out is choking DiCarlo. Once again, he pushes the referee away. Elbow drop. Fargo warning Flair again. He's pushed back to the turnbuckle. Another elbow drop as he continues to choke away on Nick DiCarlo. DiCarlo looks like he's bleeding slightly as Rick is just tearing away, ripping at the mouth. He's threatening Fargo, and that's a no-no in professional wrestling. Fargo has the right to either fine him or suspend him, or he could just disqualify him completely and change the winner of the match. DiCarlo still laid out in the middle of the ring. Let's look at it again in instant replay. As we see how Flair had set him up, he goes to work on DiCarlo's leg. Knee drops away, steps over, crosses, locks in on the figure four. And after that, submission hold, and the winner, Ric Flair.
Let's take time out for these commercial messages about the worldwide wrestling events coming up in your area.
NWA TV champion Paul Jones, Baron von Raschke. I tell you, it's really strange to see you guys tagged up as partners, tag team partners. It's hard to go along with.
Well, we've had a lot of success being tag team partners because the Baron has a lot of respect for me, and that's what I can say. It's not as much as I can say about guys like Steamboat and Atlas and on and on and on, because the Baron respects me for what I am. He's not jealous like Steamboat, Bravo, and Atlas, and Snuka and Arndal.
You really believe Steamboat was jealous of you?
He was so jealous it was a sickness. The man is still jealous. He wants my TV belt, he's so jealous. He wants everything. He's not only jealous, he's greedy. He can't stand to see Paul Jones walk around with a TV belt. Of course, I want the U.S. belt because it belongs to me. That's why. And I think that the best wrestler in the world should be wearing the U.S. belt. And I guarantee you one thing, the Baron knows, and we talked about it time and time again, all I need is the opportunity. I had it one time, but they took it away from me because they said I did something illegal, like something pull of tights.
We saw it on instant replay. Now you're going to tell me I monkeyed with the film, right?
I know y'all did. Listen, I know y'all did because the simple fact, I have never pulled tights. The people, right out there in the audience, the people know that I've never pulled tights in my life. I ain't going to start now.
Well, I certainly hope not. Baron?
Das ist richtig here, Paul. You know, we learn to respect each other. We've been in the ring against each other. We've been through the fire together. And what the fire doesn't destroy, it hardens. And that is why it hardened our friendship. We knew when Greg Valentine and the Baron were a tag team that it was not Paul Jones who was the weakling. It was not Paul Jones who resorted to the illegal tactics. It was Ricky Steamboat. And there are others. There is Paul Orndorff. There is Jimmy Snuka. There is Dino Bravo and Tony Atlas. Let them, any of them, get in the ring with the Paul Jones and the Baron von Raschke and see who the crew is.
We will be back following these commercial messages.
World Tag Team Champions Jimmy Snuka and Paul Orndorff in up against Frank Money, who's in the ring. His partner, Brute Bernard, on the outside. Jimmy starts the action off against Money. Test of strength there briefly. Another one, and Snuka pushes Monty back. The Brute, in his own inevitable way, giving Monty some encouragement. Monty comes up with a headlock, back to the ropes, whipped across. Shoulder tackle, Snuka down. Crossover. Nice hip toss. Monty kicks out. Leapfrogs over Monty, comes over, flips him over. Monty comes up holding the back. Holding his back, he's in some pain, but he makes a tag. And the unpredictable Brute Bernard makes his first appearance in the ring, in the match. And he is really, believe me, unpredictable. You don't know what he's going to do from 1 minute to the next. Snuka backed over into his corner. He makes the tag to Paul Orndorff. Paul walks into a headlock. The Brute whipped it across into the ropes. Shoulder tackle sends Orndorff down. Flying hit scissors by Paul Orndorff. Now the Brute down. Paul Orndorff, originally from Winchester, Virginia, 6 feet tall, 240 pounds. Astrological sign Scorpio. His favorite hold is a suplex. His favorite food is seafood. Favorite other sport is boxing. And that seems a little unusual because Paul is a former college football player at the University of Tampa. He played pro football at New Orleans and Chicago. Another flying head scissors. I would have thought that maybe football was, but maybe he just had enough of it. Training methods are running and weights. Applying the pressure, that head scissors on the bald head of Brute Bernard. Backs up, makes the tag, and his partner, Jimmy Snuka, in. Jimmy Snuka from the Fiji Islands, 6 feet tall, 250 pounds, known as the Superfly for those giant dives that he makes off the top rope. His astrological sign is Gemini. His favorite food is fish. Snuka in somewhat of a problem now. Back from the Brute. Right hand, right forearm rather, down across the back. Legal blow. Another right hand. Snuka down on one knee, trying to get up. Money in after the tag. Frank Money from Anchorage, Alaska, 241 pounds, 5 feet 11 and a half, bodybuilder. Second in the Mr. Eastern United States bodybuilding contest. Mr. North Carolina. Attended the University of Washington. He's got Snuka draped across the ropes and several knee drops down across his back. Right forearm. Snuka trying to fight his way back. He's made it to his feet. Right hand, right to the face. Single leg takedown from Monty. Makes the tag to the Brute. Bernard back in. Forearm down across the chest. Snuka moves out of the way just in the nick of time. Brute Bernard from Canada, 259 pounds, 6'2". His hobby is horses. I don't know, maybe he goes out and wrestles them. I don't know. As strong as he is, he probably could. Fist. Referee Sonny Fargo warning Monty about it. Snuka falls back, makes the tag to his partner, Paul Orndorff. Whips Monty across into the corner, comes off, high back drop. Another hip toss. Orndorff. Knee lift. The fans yelling, "Go, Paul, go." Makes the tag, Snuka in, picks him up. Body slams Monty. Then all of his weight down across the chest. Snuka climbing up on the ropes. Might get a chance to see that Superfly splash. High off the ropes, down across Monty with all his weight. 1, 2, 3, the count of 3. There are your winners, the World Tag Team Champions, Jimmy Snuka and Paul Orndorff. We've got to look at that again in instant replay to see that giant dive, that Superfly dive, Jimmy Snuka made onto Frank Monty all the way across the ring. There you see him climbing up on the turnbuckles. He gets set, takes that giant leap, dives all the way across, halfway across the ring, and lands with all of his weight down across Frank Monty. After that, the count of 1, 2, 3, and the winners, Jimmy Snuka and Paul Orndorff. Closing out the program, we have John Studd, the Nature Boy Ric Flair, the Giant Cat Ernie Ladd.
No question, Mr. TV announcer. I'm extremely sick of people talking about Jack Mulligan, a ghost. The man is so scared he refused to come back across the Red River and show his face in the area again. Only because yours truly, Ernie Ladd, and people like Ric Flair and Big John Studd in the area. This is why I make a prediction. Loudmouth Mulligan will not show in the area again.
Well, according to an interview I had a couple of weeks ago with him from a tape, he's coming back.
Lies. Mulligan show his face, I'll slap it on television in the public and run him off again.
John Studd, you were the man who collected the $10,000 bounty on him.
$10,000 bounty from Nature Boy Ric Flair. And when John Studd came to town, I brought the stud list. And right on top of the stud list was the name, Blackjack Mulligan. Now he's gone. There's a new man on the stud list now. It's Ricky Steamboat. Ricky Steamboat, I want you. I want the U.S. belt. It belongs on a great wrestler like myself or the Nature Boy or the Great Cat. You disgrace wrestling, Ricky Steamboat. You are the David of wrestling. We're all giants and you're trying to destroy us, and you'll never do it, Steamboat.
Nature Boy, you've been awfully quiet.
You just saw the new Ric Flair, the uncrowned world champion. Everywhere I go, my baby dolls are saying, Nature Boy, you're letting them up. You're loosening up on your opponents. That's right. I've been giving everybody in this world a break because sometimes, in all my greatness, in all my magnificence, I find room in my heart for pity. No longer the uncrowned world champion. The U.S. belt, the world tag belts, doesn't make any difference. The new Ric Flair, you saw it up the Nick DiCarlo, the figure 4, and then everything I had. Ladies and gentlemen, the great one, once again, the Golden Mane Stallion, once again, will ride higher in the sky than anybody alive. And brother, you get ready, because we, the three of us, are going to make you a big-time star in wrestling. Woo! Woo!
What can I say after that?
Ric Flair has the word. That's what he says. He wants to clean up wrestling, and who could you ask for? Big John Studd, the Big Cat, Ernie Ladd, number 99. Ernie Ladd, I just want to say one thing. I'm proud to stand next to you. Stand tall with Ernie Ladd. You couldn't ask for anything any better.
Well, that'll do it for this week. We look forward to seeing you next week right here on Worldwide Wrestling.
Clean up, crew.
Worldwide Wrestling has been furnished to this station for broadcast at this time by Jim Crockett Promotions in exchange for commercial consideration.
Be sure and join us next week right here on Worldwide Wrestling for more of the superstars from the National Wrestling Alliance.